Susan B. Anthony. Susan Brownwell Anthony was born on February 15, 1820, in Adams, Massachusetts. She grew up in a Quaker family. Her great-grandfather's fathers were first settlers and founders of the Friends meeting in Adams. They believed in morality, simplicity, humility, and equal treatment and opportunity for everyone, regardless of gender or skin color. While she was in school, they had refused to teach her long division because of her gender, so her father started teaching her at home. She had become very educated, which was uncommon in that time. After her father's business failed in 1830, she moved back home and helped her family out and became a teacher. They next moved to a farm in Rochester, New York area in 1840s. They had got involved with the abolitionist movement. Their farm served as a meeting place for such famed abolitionists such as Frederick Douglass. Around this time, Anthony became the head of the girls' department at Canterbury Academy, a position she held for 2 years. In 1869, she founded the National Women's Suffrage Association, NSSA, along with Elizabeth Cady Stanton. The point of it was to help gain women to vote. She was the vice president. She wanted to make alliances with the many other desperate women's suffrage groups because she felt it would make the message stronger, but Stanton wanted a more independent approach. In February 1890, against the resistance of Stanton and other members, Anthony combined NSSA with Lucy Stone's more moderate American Suffrage Association, ASSA, creating the National American Women Suffrage Association, NAWSA. She was giving speeches to convince other women to vote in 1872. She took matters into her own hands and voted illegally in the presidential election. She was arrested for crime and she was unsuccessfully fought the charges. She was fined $100, which she had never paid. Susan B. Anthony was a hero because she showed determination and bravery. Even though she knew she would get arrested and that it was illegal for her to vote, she did it anyway because she knew it was wrong the way they were treating women compared to men. She also showed determination because she spent almost all of her life fighting for something she believed in and never gave up. She encouraged everyone to fight for the things they believed in. We should never take her for granted because the rights we have today, she and others fought for their whole lives. For women to have freedom and equality we have now. Susan Brownwell Anthony, who once said, "I declare to you, woman must not depend upon the protection of a man, but must be taught to protect herself, and there I take my stand." Susan B. Anthony died in 1902 at her house, and she never got to see the outcome of all the work she did. About 14 years later, they declared that the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, give all women the right to vote, was passed. In recognition of her dedication and hard work, the U.S. Treasury Department put Anthony's portrait on dollar coins in 1979. She was the first woman to be so honored. This is a picture of her. That's a picture of the coin with the dollar coin. A quote that says, "No man is good enough to govern any woman without her consent."
great inspirational leader. She rallied hundreds of thousands of women.
Susan B. Anthony changed the course of history for women in the United States.
At the beginning of her career, of her dedication to women's rights, she was much despised.
Her arrest for voting in the 1872 presidential election and eventual trial paved the way for women's political rights.
One of the things she brought to the women's movement was a tremendous faith.
Susan B. Anthony was born in 1820 in Adams, Massachusetts. She was from a tight-knit Quaker family who believed in education.
In the Quaker meeting house, men and women spoke equally. And so Susan B. Anthony thought that that's the way it was everywhere.
The reality was most women were uneducated, could not own property, had few legal rights, and were subservient to men. And Susan B. Anthony wanted equal rights under the law for both sexes. Anthony met Elizabeth Cady Stanton, the architect of the first Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, New York, and the duo teamed up.
They were responsible for every right we have as women today. Stanton had the sort of intellectual vision. She had the way with words. And Anthony had from the beginning the vision of what it meant to build a movement.
It was 1872 that Anthony caused a national sensation when she voted in a presidential election illegally. Her trial had an all-male jury, and Anthony was not permitted to speak on her own defense.
The trial was rigged. Her vote didn't count, but she got great publicity value out of it.
Anthony was fined $100, which she never paid. She did, however, continue to spread the word on women's rights throughout the U.S. and Europe.
She appeared in front of every Congress from 1869 until 1906, the year she died.
Women were finally given the right to vote in 1920, 16 years after Susan B. Anthony died.
I think that every February 15th, women in this country should recognize that as Susan B. Anthony's birthday, and just for a second, say thank you.
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course U.S. History, and today we're going to talk about